My father-in-law stood up from his desk, not even looking at me as he spoke. Your 23-year marriage is over, and so is your position here. My daughter is divorcing you, and you're leaving this company. I calmly stood up, and as he was buttoning his jacket, I said just one word, understood. That day he thought he was firing me. In reality, he was setting up his own downfall. This story shows how those who wait quietly eventually win. If you enjoy real-life stories like this, subscribe to our channel. Now let me tell you how it all began. My name is Marcus Stone, 48 years old. When I married Katherine 23 years ago, her father Robert Mackenzie owned a small construction company in Chicago. 12-person office, 3 construction sites, annual revenue around $2 million. Today, Mackenzie Construction has 400 employees, 15 ongoing projects, and annual revenue of $850 million. I was the architect of this growth, but nobody wanted to acknowledge it. I met Katherine at Northwestern University in 1998. She was studying architecture, I was in business school. We met at our mutual friend Sarah's birthday party. Katherine was beautiful, confident, but surprisingly down-to-earth despite her wealthy background. Our first date was a walk along Lake Michigan. My dad won't like you, she laughed. You're not a contractor. He thinks construction daughters need construction husbands. She was right. When I proposed after graduation, Robert opposed it vehemently. How will you support my daughter? What do you have besides a diploma? My pride was hurt, but I stayed quiet for Katherine's sake. The wedding was simple. Robert came reluctantly. His wife Ellen pulled me aside that night. Robert's tough but fair. Do good work, he'll come around. I hope she was right. After the wedding, I sent resumes everywhere. Big firms rejected me, no experience. Katherine was getting worried. Let me talk to Dad, she offered. I didn't want charity, but I had no choice. Robert hired me in accounting, making his attitude clear. This is for my daughter, not you. The accounting manager, Bill Thompson, was 60, old school, and treated me like an unwanted intern. He gave me photocopying, coffee runs, filing. I didn't complain. At night, I studied the company's books. What I found was alarming. The company was hemorrhaging money. 3 bank loans totaling $8 million. Monthly payments of $800,000. Monthly net income of $750,000. They were sinking $50,000 deeper every month. When Bill got sick one week, Robert said, "You handle things." That week, I mapped the entire financial structure. The situation was worse than I thought. At this rate, bankruptcy was inevitable within 3 years. I spent the weekend preparing a comprehensive report. 40 pages of analysis, projections, and solutions. Monday morning, I went to Robert's office. His secretary Janet was surprised. "You don't have an appointment." "It's urgent," I said. Robert barely looked up when I entered. I placed the folder on his desk. "What's this?" "The company's real situation," I said. He laughed dismissively. "What would you know about it?" "I know we're bleeding $50,000 monthly. I know our debt service exceeds our net income. I know we'll be bankrupt in 3 years unless we act now." His face changed. He opened the folder, studied the numbers. 2 hours later, he was listening intently as I explained my 3-phase recovery plan. "What does Bill say about this?" he asked. "Bill doesn't see it. He's using 20-year-old methods in a modern economy." Robert stood, walked to the window. "I'll give you 3 months. If you fail, you're out and we never discuss this again." The first month was hell. Bill turned everyone against me. "The boss's son-in-law thinks he knows everything," he'd say. But I worked 16-hour days. I renegotiated with banks, cut unnecessary expenses, sold the luxury company cars. Even mine. Robert asked angrily. "Especially yours," I said. "Leadership by example." By month 2, cash flow turned positive. Small but positive. By month 3, profits had increased 40%. Bill resigned. "I don't understand this new system," he admitted. Robert called me in. "You're the new CFO. Don't let me down." That night, Katherine was ecstatic. "Dad finally sees your worth." I wasn't celebrating yet. This was just the beginning point. 2002, I saw opportunity where others saw risk. "We need to buy land now," I told Robert. "Property values are about to explode." "With what money?" "We'll borrow $10 million. He thought I was insane, but I showed him the projections. We bought 5 properties. 2 years later, they were worth $50 million. 2005, our first major project. 200-unit residential complex. Robert wanted to handle sales himself. "No," I insisted. "We need professionals." We hired a top sales team. The complex sold out in 6 months, 20% above market price. 2008, the financial crisis. Everyone panicked. Not us. I'd refused foreign currency loans despite the attractive rates. I'd built cash reserves despite Robert calling me paranoid. When others went bankrupt, we bought their assets at fraction prices. By 2010, McKinsey Construction was a major player. 500 million revenue. 300 employees. But in every interview, every press release, Robert took full credit. My vision, my leadership. I was mentioned only as, my son-in-law helps with the numbers. 2012 marked our international debut. A $100 million project in Dubai. Robert was skeptical. We're not ready for international work. I disagreed. I spent 6 months in Dubai living in hotels working 18-hour days. Katherine stayed in Chicago with our kids Michael, born in 2008, and Emily, born in 2010. The project succeeded beyond expectations. We made headlines. McKinsey Construction goes global. Robert gave interviews taking full credit. That night, alone in my Dubai hotel room, I called Katherine. "Did you see Dad on CNN?" she asked excitedly. "I saw," I said. "He didn't mention you at all," she noted. "No, he didn't." There was an awkward pause. "When are you coming home?" "2 more weeks. The kids miss you." "I miss you." But her voice was flat, obligatory. By 2015, the company was worth over $1 billion. But my marriage was crumbling. Katherine had changed. New friends, all divorced wealthy women who lunched and shopped. She spent $200,000 monthly on credit cards. "We can afford it," she'd say when I questioned her. I overheard her talking to friends one day. "Marcus is a good provider but so boring. All he thinks about is work and numbers. Where's the passion, the excitement?" They laughed and suggested she find excitement elsewhere. Robert had become insufferable. His ego grew with the company. He'd rewrite history in every telling, minimizing my role more each time. From "my son-in-law helped" to "I had some assistance" to finally just "I built this empire." In 2017, I made a strategic decision. "We should transfer some shares to Katherine," I told Robert. "Tax advantages." He didn't question it. "Marcus handles the financial stuff." Katherine signed without reading. She trusted me, or perhaps just didn't care. 35% of company shares were now in Katherine's name. What nobody paid attention to was our prenuptial agreement, a standard template Robert's lawyer had used. It stated clearly, assets acquired during marriage would be split equally in divorce. Those shares? Half were legally mine. I also restructured the company into a holding system with 6 subsidiaries. Complex but legal. "Why so complicated?" Robert asked. "Tax optimization," I said. He waved it off. Details bored him now that he was a visionary leader. 2020, the pandemic hit. While other companies collapsed, we thrived. What? I'd built cash reserves and refused over-leveraging despite pressure to grow faster. But locked down at home, my marriage couldn't survive the forced proximity. Katherine and I argued constantly. The kids noticed. "Why don't you love each other anymore?" Emily asked one night. That broke my heart. September 2021, Katherine asked for divorce. "I'm not happy, Marcus. I haven't been for years." I knew about Ryan, her 28-year-old Pilates instructor. Her friends had been covering for her. "Is it because of him?" I asked. "It's because of us," she said. "We're just incompatible." Within hours, Robert called. "You've made my daughter unhappy. This marriage is over, and so is your time at MY Company." The emphasis on my wasn't subtle. October 15, 2021, the termination meeting. HR Director Steve was there, looking uncomfortable. Robert didn't even stand when I entered. "Your 23-year marriage is over, and so is your position here. Clean out your desk by end of day." "Understood," I said calmly. Steve looked surprised. "That's it? No questions?" "No." "Reaction?" "What would you like me to say?" I asked. They expected anger, threats, begging. They got none. As I packed my desk, colleagues avoided eye contact. 23 years reduced to one cardboard box. Janet, Robert's secretary, was crying. "This is so unfair," she whispered. "Perhaps," I said. "Or perhaps it's exactly what needs to happen." 3 days later, my lawyer Michael Chin called. "Ready to proceed?" "Send it," I said. The divorce settlement papers included one detail that would change everything. Katherine's 35% shares were marital property. I was entitled to 17.5% of McKinsey Construction. Within an hour, Robert's lawyer was screaming on the phone. "This is extortion. Manipulation. It's the law," I said calmly. Check the prenup your own lawyer drafted. Robert called that night. His voice was different, shaken. Marcus, son. First time he'd ever called me son. There's been a misunderstanding. Let's meet tomorrow, work this out like family. We're not family, I reminded him. You made that clear when you fired me. The offers started coming. First 50 million. Then 100. Then 150. I refused them all. The company was valued at 2 billion. My share was worth 350 million. But more importantly, I knew something Robert didn't want public. He was about to close a $500 million loan for a massive Dubai expansion. The bank wouldn't approve it with an ownership dispute pending. The media got wind of the story. Son-in-law's revenge made headlines. Robert's reputation was taking hits. Katherine called, sobbing. How can you do this to my father? To me? I'm not doing anything, I said. I'm simply claiming what's legally mine. What I helped build. One evening, Robert showed up at my apartment alone. He looked older, tired. What do you really want, Marcus? What I always wanted, I said. Recognition. Respect. For 23 years I was the son-in-law. Never the partner. Never the architect of your success. December arrived. The trial was going my way. Robert's lawyers couldn't dispute the facts. Katherine had signed willingly, the prenup was clear, the shares were marital property. Meanwhile, the Dubai deal deadline approached. Robert was running out of time. Final offer, 350 million cash, plus a public statement acknowledging my role in building the company. Never, Robert said initially. But when the Dubai partners threatened to walk, he had no choice. December 26, 2021, Robert held a press conference. I want to acknowledge the instrumental role Marcus Stone played in Mackenzie Construction's growth. For 15 years he was our financial architect, our strategic planner. His vision helped build this company. I'm grateful for his contributions. Every word looked painful for him to say, but he said them. With the settlement money I started Stone Construction. 20 former Mackenzie employees joined me immediately. We wanted to work for you, not him, they said. Within 6 months, we landed our first major project, $100 million. Small compared to Mackenzie, but it was mine. The kids chose to live with me. Katherine's relationship with Ryan lasted exactly 6 months. He left when he realized the divorce settlement didn't include alimony, only the share division. She calls occasionally, living alone in a downtown apartment. Robert had a mild heart attack in 2023. I visited him in the hospital. I was wrong, he said, tubes running from his arms. Wrong about everything. You were the son I never had, and I was too proud to see it. Everyone makes mistakes, I said. What matters is learning from them. Today, Stone Construction has 150 employees and $500 million in annual revenue. We're known for integrity, innovation, and treating employees like family. My son Michael interns with us during college breaks. I want to learn business from you, Dad, not from Grandpa. You build things that last. Last month, Robert called with a proposal. Merge our companies. Equal partnership. You as CEO, me as Chairman Emeritus. It was everything I'd wanted 3 years ago. But now. Thank you, Robert, but no. I'm happy building my own legacy. There was a long pause. I understand, he said finally. Marcus? I'm proud of you. I should have said that 20 years ago. The irony isn't lost on me. Robert thought he was ending my career that October morning. Instead, he freed me to build something better. Sometimes the worst moments in our lives are just beginnings in disguise. My father-in-law fired me thinking he was punishing me. He was actually setting me free. And in that freedom I found my true worth, not as someone's son-in-law, not as someone's employee, but as myself. The lesson? Know your worth. Document everything. And never let anyone make you small just because they gave you an opportunity. You earned your success. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. As I sit in my office today looking out at the Chicago skyline, I think about that October morning 3 years ago. The humiliation, the shock, the feeling that my world was ending. If someone had told me then that it would be the best thing that ever happened to me, I would have thought they were insane. But here's what I learned. Sometimes life's greatest gifts come wrapped in the worst packages. That firing freed me from seeking approval I was never going to get. It freed me from being small to make others feel big. It freed me from accepting less than I deserved. My marriage ended, yes. But my children see me now as a man who stands up for himself, who builds rather than tears down, who leads with integrity. That's worth more than any salary. My position at Mackenzie ended, yes. But Stone Construction is built on merit, not nepotism. Every success is earned, Every failure is a lesson, every employee is valued. We've turned down 3 acquisition offers already. We're not for sale. Katherine found me last week at Michael's basketball game. I made a mistake, she said quietly. Ryan was nothing. A fantasy. You were real. You were stability. I smiled sadly. Stability wasn't enough for you then. I know, she said. I know that now. To anyone listening who's been undervalued, overlooked, or discarded by people who should have treasured you, remember this. Their inability to see your worth doesn't diminish it. Their failure to appreciate your contribution doesn't erase it. Their decision to remove you from their life might just be the push you needed to build your own. Document everything. Know your legal rights. Never sign anything without understanding it fully. But most importantly, never let anyone make you believe you're less than you are. Not a spouse, not a boss, not a father-in-law who only saw you as an extension of his daughter rather than a person in your own right. Robert Mackenzie thought he was firing an employee that October morning. He was actually creating a competitor. He thought he was punishing me for his daughter's unhappiness. He was actually freeing me to find my own happiness. The irony is perfect. In trying to destroy me, he revealed my true strength. In trying to take everything away, he gave me the push to build something entirely mine. In calling me just the son-in-law, he forced me to become Marcus Stone, founder and CEO. If you're in a situation where you're undervalued, where your contributions are minimized, where you're seen as expendable, start documenting. Start planning. Start believing in your worth. Because one day they might just do you the favor of setting you free. And when that day comes, you'll be ready. That morning when Robert said, "You're leaving this company," I said, "Understood." What I didn't say was, "Thank you." Because he'd just given me the greatest gift of my life, the chance to prove what I could build when I wasn't building for someone else's ego. Sometimes the end is just the beginning. Sometimes being fired is just another word for being freed. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all, it's success on your own terms. My name is Marcus Stone. 3 years ago, I was fired by my father-in-law who thought I was nothing without his company. Today, I run a $500 million construction firm built on respect, integrity, and merit. He offered to merge our companies last month. I politely declined. Because I don't need his validation anymore. I have my own.